this time, the chair recognizes Councilman Domb, who presented a resolution honoring Dave Davies. With Mr. Davies and those accompanying him, please join the councilman at the podium. And joining Councilman Domb, we have Councilman Greenlee, Councilwoman Reynolds Brown, Councilwoman Parker, Councilman Green, Councilman O, Councilman Heenan, and Councilman Jones.
All members of council have supported this resolution, and you're all invited to come up if you'd like. So today, Dave, on behalf of all members of City Council, we welcome you today. We also welcome your wife, Myrna, and your sister, Donna. And, you know, today I asked some of your colleagues in the media their opinion of you. And from Pat Loeb, she said, fair, caring, and a mensch. And that's after 35 years, I understand, of a long-standing, great relationship. It's pretty amazing. And from Jake, I'm calling you out, Jake, he said he's accurate. Really good. And from Hal, where's Hal over here? Hal Fischella's house said to me, I didn't know this, you're a scratch golfer and a shortstop. Pretty amazing. And from all my members of council who I spoke to about Dave Davies, the common comment from everyone was fair, honest, and accurate. I don't think you can get better than that. So today, we're honoring and congratulating Dave Davies on his retirement from WHYY's news desk and recognizing his excellence in journalism.
And whereas after 37 years reporting on Philadelphia politics, using facts versus sensationalism, currently with WHYY, Dave Davies is stepping away from his work at the news desk as a senior reporter.
Whereas Mr. Davies, throughout his tenure in Philadelphia political reporting, is known for his tenacious investigations and fair reporting.
Whereas prior to his career at WHYY, Mr. Davies worked as a City Hall reporter for the Daily News for 19 years.
Whereas Mr. Davies also reported on City Hall with KYW News Radio.
And whereas Dave Davies epitomized what I call a possibility thinker. Before he was a journalist, Mr. Davies was also a welder, a cab driver, a teacher as a young man finding his path in the city.
Whereas Mr. Davies has covered many historic moments in Philadelphia politics, and
whereas Mr. Davies has an unassailable reputation for fairness and excellence in journalism with politicians on both sides of the aisle.
Whereas Mr. Davies upholds and teaches the fundamentals of journalism in modern times by encouraging the most important fact of all reporters to check their facts and give voice to every side of an issue.
No fake news.
Whereas Mr. Davies will continue his presence on WHYY's award-winning program, Fresh Air with Terry Gross.
Now therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of Philadelphia that Dave Davies is honored and congratulated on his retirement from the news desk and for his excellent reporting on Philadelphia politics over the last nearly 4 decades. Congratulations.
And the chair recognizes Mr. Davies for remarks.
Thank you, Council President. This is a little overwhelming. I want to thank Councilman Domb for the honor of this resolution and thank all of you who did not object when the voice vote was held. Appreciate that. I know from many years sitting at that press table that nobody wants a long speech on the last day before recess, so I will be brief. I want to say a couple of things, though, about this body and you members. One is that I really appreciate what you do, that is to say, the challenges that you face. The city has a lot of needs, and resources are always thin, and the politics are tough, and the policy questions are tough, and I appreciate the way you grapple with them day in and day out. And I encourage you as you do that to think broadly, think not just about what this piece of legislation does today, but how it fits in with the city's tax structure and the regulatory structure and the real abilities of government, and use all of that when you're thinking about where we're going. I also want to say that although people love to make fun of Philadelphia politicians, and we've had our moments for sure, people don't appreciate that the procedures by which this body considers legislation are far more deliberative and transparent than you will find in legislative bodies elsewhere. In Washington, senators can anonymously put a hold on legislation, anonymously. In Harrisburg, they can ram through a piece of far-reaching consequential legislation in hours in the middle of the night. Remember what happened when the leadership of the parking authority changed hands back in, 2003? It happens. That doesn't happen here, right? You introduce a bill, there is a hearing, it is advertised. When it is enacted, it must be read in final form at least twice a week in succession, typically 3 times. And I think it's a little messy and it takes a little longer, but I have seen over years and years of covering this body that it results in better legislation. And I think people should know that. I also just want to say that I think it's a good thing that unlike some national figures, you don't mock those who cover you as purveyors of fake news or enemies of the people. You know that by and large, the people who cover you believe in the city, work hard, and want to get it right. And so I think it'll take your best efforts and their best efforts to ensure that democracy continues in the city and that local government is responsive. So I want to wish you good judgment, good staff, good partners in Harrisburg, fingers crossed on that, right? And a good national economy because it makes things so much better here. I've lived here for 44 years. Since Frank Rizzo was mayor and Joan Krajewski occupied Councilman Heenan's seat. So I've been around a while, and I'm still here. And what you do will be of interest and consequence to me, and so I will continue to follow it. And I wish you all good luck, and thank you again for this honor.
Thank you, Councilor Davies.